It's another Tuesday, which means it's another great indie show for you. And this one, well, last week Astrid kind of went on her own for a little bit, and we cut some time. We're going to add that time right back on tonight because this is, and I shit you not, on IWTV, a 4+ hour show.
Yeah.
We're going to see if we can get this in under 2 hours, because if I don't, I'm going to miss my Duolingo streak. Apparently it's Carrot Cake Day, so happy Carrot Cake Day to Zach. Bobby's in the chat. Hello, my friends. How are you doing this evening? I am doing fantastic. This is going to be a fun one. There's a lot of interesting. I won't say good. I won't say bad. I'll use the word interesting for this show because it was indeed interesting. We got Melball Collins in the chat. Hello, Miss Melball. And Joe's here. Nice to see Joe live for right off the bat. He's off tonight, so we can finally catch a live show. Well, we're happy to have you here, Joe. So we're here to talk about Beyond Wrestling, and more importantly than regular, well, what is Beyond Wrestling? We are here to talk about Americanrana 2025. Beyond Wrestling is another local indie promotion near me. I have been to, I think, one of their shows before. I don't like their shows for a very specific reason, and we'll talk about that when we get to the arena, because I'm going to get Ash's opinion on something like this. Here is our thumbnail for the show with all of the big stars. Well, at least some of them. We had to have Matt Cardona front and center because I assumed he would retweet the show, but he didn't. Hello, Vassar. Thank you for joining us.
I should. Millie.
Oh, I miss Millie. I'm sorry. I had the thing up.
And your favorite person.
Fuck you, STG. At least he lost in the
Aww.
He lost in the fantasy league this week. So sorry. and then he drew Peggy as his second challenger. So STG and Bobby Muntz are going to be on the bottom of the thing 0-2 next week. So, but anyways, we're here from Cranston, Rhode Island to talk about August 29th, Beyond Wrestling, Americanrana 2025. Astrid, what did you think of the venue as a whole? And then we're going to talk about the ringside area.
My neck hurts. Don't be mean. I've seen the video a couple of times. I gotta admit it, just so you know. it was priceless. I feel like I have like a love-hate relationship with it because I do like how full it looks based on the angle they give us for most of the time for the entrances. But at the same time, you barely have like an itty-bitty space for people to walk through in the middle towards the ring. And it's like, I'm the kind of person that I like to be close to it. So I see the kids being around it. I love that. But at the same time, when you have people wrestling and stuff can happen on the outside, having people that close is also not a good thing sometimes. But yeah, that's why it's like I love it because it looks full from the angle they give us for most of the show. But I feel like it's also feels, I want to say, kind of like a hazard in a way by having it.
I personally hate the people surround the ring indie style shows. I hate them. I can't do it. I don't like watching it, and it makes me ill just thinking about being there. Because like I'm a big guy. I need a share. I can't stand for that long. But also, like you, I've seen enough wrestling to know that having people that close to the ring, it's challenging for the wrestlers themselves, not only, to book a match. Now, Beyond Wrestling does it in a good way, where theoretically this is only two sides of the ring. I mean, you had the one silly kid on the hard cam side that kept getting caught, that just stood at the ring the whole time. But he paid for a seat as opposed to the standing room only that you saw on the other two sides of the ring. I love this venue because not only does it have those seats on the entranceway, the seats behind where the hard cam is positioned, and then those seats behind the standing room only section next to the ring. You also had this great little balcony on the back of the shot that you were constantly looking at. I thought it was really cool because that's a fun and interesting way to watch an indie show. And I think those seats are actually probably better than most of the other seats because it gives you a really interesting look at the show.
So this one's for you before you continue.
I cut my hair during NXT. So 8:30 tonight, 8:30, 9 o'clock.
And then this one. What's the purpose of the ring surrounding?
So a lot of independent promotions like to make the room feel bigger and get more noise by having fans on the outside of the ring. Sorry for shaking my camera. I apologize. But especially during the main event, you heard it a lot where when they were trying to get Bobby Orlando back in this match, a lot of those fans are sitting there smacking the mat, getting it, getting that reverberation, making that sound. The ring makes a very particular sound live. And having those people there makes a small room feel bigger, feel more full. A lot of independent, and by the way, this is not a beyond wrestling thing. A ton of independent promotions do this. OTT out of Ireland is one of the biggest ones that I always see. They love to do this. Some places don't sell front row seats, and all the seated seating is behind standing room audiences. And again, it's hit or miss with the promotion. It's a personal pet peeve of mine, but then it also comes from being a big guy and hating the idea of standing for 4+ hours like those people did for the show.
Nope.
Like, I don't think that people shouldn't do it. It's obviously a choice of the promoter. But at the same time, like I said, for me, it irks me as a viewer and as a person who like being there. All right, when they had Rescal, Eve did it as well. Yeah, like I said, a lot of the independent promotions, a bunch of independent promotions do this. And I think especially the European ones are probably more likely because we've seen the fervor around soccer over in Europe where they like to have people making as much noise and as close as possible. I mean, standing is hard. It is what it is. Anyways, we've wasted enough time. It's 8 minutes in. We need to get into this card because there are, let me count them, 1, 2, 3,
20.
4, 5, 6, 20 matches on this card. We're only going to be, I don't know. Oh, is it not actually 20? 1, 2,
I don't know. I was joking.
5, 6, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 matches. It's an AEW card, everybody. No. It's still an AEW card at 14 matches, by the way. 4 matches on the pre-show, 10 matches on the main card, 4 hours long. At least they started this show at 7 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, locally for this crowd. But it was still a long one. All right, we have Wrench and Resolve. So during our pre-show, we had a 4-match pre-show. Wrench and Resolve of Bio Wrestling School trainees, Jake Gray and Eric ChCha, taking on Mint. I love Mint. Mint, by the way, and I did write this down, it stands for, let me pull out my notes because that's the one thing I didn't do. Mint stands for muscular, intelligent, natural, and tanned. I know this because our great ring announcer, Lauren St. James, told us this when she announced them. This tag team includes WWE ID talent It's Gall, and one of our favorites, Jose Zamora.
Yes.
The influencer himself, Jose Zamora. So these first 2 matches are strictly matches to get some of the Beyond Institute of Wrestling talent on the card. Eric ChCha, Jake Gray, I Blackjack. The entire point of these 2 matches were to get those talents on this card in front of this crowd. This portion was done for YouTube for free before the show as a way to kind of an old school WWE style or 0-hour style pre-show. You had 2 matches that really nobody cares about, and then you had 2 matches that mean something. We're only talking about one of those 2 matches, but anyways. What did you think about Mint defeating Wrench and Resolve here?
Yeah, for me, I just wasn't used to the match being that short, and then it was done. I was very surprised. I was like, so this is how we get to a 20-match card. I'm joking.
4 minutes and 51 seconds, according to Lauren St. James.
Yeah, that was. I do like her. I was gonna say so far. Val's not my number 1. I'm sorry because Val's my person, but This one was really close second that I really like the ring announcer. Like, I like her enthusiasm and the way she explained this too at the beginning.
No. I mean, I'm sorry. Rich Palladino first, then Val right behind him. Right behind the Rich Palladino. And then somewhere way down the list, Andre C. No, I agree with you. It was a quick match. There's really nothing to this match. It's a showcase to get It's Gall and Jose Zamora the payday, and it's a chance to get these bio pro wrestling students a chance to get out there. I've seen Eric ChCha wrestle before. I think he's got some talent. He's really good. Again, this is a promotion that runs 2 shows weekly. One show runs out of this exact venue every Monday night during Raw. And then they run every Thursday night out of a show in Worcester, Massachusetts. They are 2 slightly different lineups depending on which venue they're at, because some of the talent are more southern than others. So not all talent get to make it, but they're all part of one big happy family in the Beyond/Wrestling Open family. On commentary for this, we have Joey T and Ricky Shane Page, which made Bobby All's heart go all aflutter when he found out that his good friend RSP was on this show on commentary. I'll be honest, I thought RSP was actually really good on commentary. He had 2 kind of questionable jokes at one point in this, but I will say those jokes are a lot better than some of the jokes we heard during the Dreamwave show that we talked about 2 weeks ago. Back to editing.
Those 2 comments. I think it was the one that I sent you, right? The 2.
Yes, those are the 2. Oh, those are the 2 that I picked out because those are the exact 2 that caught my eye too.
I went, why?
Mick wins this match when Gale hits a spinning power bomb, which is his finish. It's great. It's Gal is really interesting. I'm very excited to see more of It's Gal. I like him on Evolve. I like his whole gimmick is that he's like a wrestling figure come to life. So he's got all the jacked muscles and he's tanned and he's got the glasses and the hair. Like, I like him. This is an interesting tag team because I don't typically see Jose Zamora in a tag team without DJ Powers. DJ Powers has something to do later in the show. We then get to, I believe, if I'm correct me if I'm wrong, TNA's Ray Jaz. Am I correct? Isn't he part of the FBI and TNA?
Ray Jaz. I don't have to look it up.
Okay, but Ray Jaz
I'm a
here.
visual person, so I need to see.
Ray Jaz here takes on I Blackjack, which is again another talent from the Bio Pro Wrestling Academy. I like I Blackjack. I think he's got a good gimmick. I think he's got a good look. I think he wrestled really well here. And I like the idea that Ray Jaz didn't take this seriously until he did, and he got the win. It's everything you need to out of a squash match, a showcase match, an enhancement match. This did all it needed to do, and it did it in 4 minutes and 10 seconds.
Okay, you were saying if he was from where?
TNA. I believe he's part of the new FBI and TNA.
Yeah, correct.
Okay. I thought so. I just wanted to make sure.
Yeah.
What did you think of Ray Jaz and I Blackjack here in their 4 minutes?
Yeah, that's another. I feel like so far the 2 matches, I just wanted to see more from Jose, if anything.
Yeah.
And then the match ended. I like how he was cocky enough that when Gal's taking over the match and they have it, then Jose tags himself in. For this one, the only thing was like there was a slam that he did before the win happened, but other than that, there wasn't much to it either that I could be like, oh, that was great because it was so short.
No, I agree. I just think that I Blackjack did a lot of good selling here. He worked the match really well. He worked off of the chemistry of Ray Jaz really well here. And again, a lot of credit to that probably goes to Ray Jaz. Let's be honest. He's a veteran. He knows what he's doing. And he made this 4 minutes feel like it meant something. It wasn't nothing to write home about, but it is what it is. Yes, Jose Zamora is one of the best. That gimmick is original. And, like, ironically, it's so funny that we have so many people who consider themselves influencers in the wrestling business. but nobody's done it like this. And that's what makes Jose Zamora so special, is that he found an interesting way to do the influencer gimmick that makes him feel like a big deal, and also the biggest loser that you just want to see get his face punched in. So I think Jose Zamora does great. Dan Barry then had one of his last matches in Beyond Wrestling as he takes on Drew Gulak. He defeats Drew Gulak, and he announces that his final match will be Heavy Lies the Crown on New Year's Eve. And it'll be back at Electric Haze, which is the former venue for Wrestling Open before they had to move. So they're now at a different venue. So they're going back to Electric Haze for one night only for Heavy Lies the Crown on New Year's Eve. Astrid, do you think you could get away with going out to a wrestling show on New Year's Eve?
Yes, I know.
Okay. I'm just trying to figure out if that's something that's an acceptable New Year's Eve date night. It's like, oh, it's date night. It's New Year's Eve. It's a romantic thing. Let's go watch the guys and girls beat each other up.
I say yes because I know that's something that my partner wouldn't mind doing. It's just a matter of like, as a family, my family has traditions that we like to spend it together, so that'll be the no. Yeah.
Astrid loves socializing on New Year's.
No, I like to stay home and read a book until midnight.
We then get our main event of the pre-show, and this is one of my favorite of the entire card. And honestly, I wish it were on the full card because I only wanted it to have more time. We had, oh boy, the Rhode and Lawless Residency of Rex Lawless and RJ Rhode taking on Starstruck of the alternative Anthony Greene and world-class Channing Thomas. Not Channing Tatum. Although I wouldn't mind seeing Channing Tatum in a wrestling match. That'd be kind of fun. Taking on your gay best friends of Aaron Rourke and Becca. Taking on the Vibe of Monty Ariez and Sammy Diaz. Sammy Diaz was indeed doing a belt collector gimmick earlier this year. I think he's lost a handful of those. I love this match. I also love the fact that we have two people singing themselves to the ring, shall we say. I don't know if we can call what RJ Rhode was doing singing.
I wouldn't call it singing, but anyway. I do like the fact that the crowd is singing along with Becca, though. I feel like it's nice to see that happening to the ring, though, and seeing their excitement about her singing. I really enjoy that part of it. And if I'm correct, I think Rex is, I call him Mr. Willow, because if I don't know if he still is, but he was Willow and Angel's boyfriend.
I think so. I think Rex Lawless is still with Will.
Yeah.
I personally love Rex Lawless. I've seen a handful of his matches. I really enjoy what he does in the ring. I'm not a huge fan of him with RJ Rhode, but I love Rex Lawless. He's a big ass dude. Like, he's big.
Mm-hmm. And then I know, at least we have, I don't want to say history, but heavily in the Jillian Hall gimmick. Sort of, yes. But I'll say better, at least a little bit better. With Anthony Greene, that we're familiar with him as well, too.
Yep. Channing Thomas was indeed on the Dreamwave show. Becca has been on 4 of the 5 shows we've done. Becca feels like she has to be on the show for us to do a review. So I'm really worried about the next show that we're doing because I don't think she's on the one that we talked about doing. So that'll be something if we do a second show without Becca on it. I love this. I thought this was a great match. Starstruck is a really great tag team. These guys really work well together. All of these teams really work well together. The Vibe is the first time I've ever seen them work together. I've seen them separately, and I think that they're both incredibly talented separately. Seeing them together was really interesting. Having the big guy, little guy team, I think was really cool. Having Aaron Rourke and Becca, I think was really fun because the gay best friends are so talented, but also so entertaining that it's just hard to not love them. Ooh, good to know. Good to know. Yeah.
That's true. Possibly.
International World Tour. By the way, one of the jokes was, I believe, was Becca and her singing and being prom queen, if I remember correctly. from Ricky St. Page.
The only thing that I would say is that I'm not a fan of her outfit for this because the whole time she's doing all her high fly moves, she has to keep pulling her top off, like up somehow, and it's just so distracting. Whenever she does, I think she did come almost like a hurricanrana outside, and then right after she had to like go and lift it up again. I was like, I don't like when the girls have any kind of like skirts or dresses and they know they're gonna get physical in the ring. It's like you're running a risk of like showing something there. So I was like, that's the only part that I was like, I like her entrance. I like how her Aaron are matching. But whenever she does anything high flying stuff, you can see her just like covering herself up and like worried about it. And it's like that takes me out of it because I'm like watching out that I don't see anything I shouldn't be seeing when this happens. But her and Aaron, I feel like they do such a great pairing together here. I really enjoy that part of it. I also loved Anthony at one point. He used Sammy to knock off Aaron from the ropes, and he did like a whole net breaker. And the way he did it was so smoothly done. It reminded me of the way that the Young Bucks do their moves, like especially Nick when he does that type of thing. That he goes from one person to another one like that. I love the sequence there so much. And the Canadian Destroyer from Becca, that was priceless.
Yeah. They get the win with one of the more interesting finishing moves in tag team wrestling that I saw. Starstruck gets the win with a European uppercut into a powerbomb combination. Mm-hmm. And that European uppercut comes from the top rope from Channing Thomas. Sensational. Love this. Love all of this. I wish that we could have seen more of this match because I think, by the way, this match was also fought under Lucha rules, which I thought was really cool. By having all of the different teams just be able to interchange without having to worry about tags. I thought that was a really smart idea for having a four-way tag match. To just be like, look, if your feet touch the outside of the ring, boom, the other person can go right in. We then get a video package for our opening match on the main card before we're introduced to our ring announcer for the main card, Rich Palladino. We also have the shot caller, Paul Donez, and Crockett on the call for this portion of the show. And these two are sensational in commentary. Mm-hmm. Really like these two because while the guys in the beginning, Ricky Shane Page and Joey T, didn't do such a great job getting over all of the things, I will say from this point on, these two guys made a new viewer feel like they understood what was going on. What we talked about with Uprising last week about how we didn't know we still don't know which of the Sage twins is which because they didn't tell us. I feel like in this, we knew who everybody was. We knew everything going on. And the best part was the commentary told the story of the match happening in the ring. For every match, they made sure that whatever story is being told in the ring was the story being told on commentary. So if you stop watching the TV screen for a little bit to do something else, you understood what was going on because commentary was smart enough to make you understand the emotionality and the match going on at that time. Sensational work from these two. Really big fans of these two. Hope I get to hear more of them.
Yeah, so much better than the pre-show. Definitely. So when you told me that we're changing after the pre-show, and I went, please, because I was dying. Then when they changed, it's like, this is a lot better. The way they give you backgrounds on the people and the way they explain the storytelling leading up to the match and things like that, it made me feel better because even if I hadn't seen anything beforehand, this is a way for me to like kind of like catch up on it while I'm watching the show at the same time.
And they did at least small video package for most of these matches. Yeah. Like if there was something that needed a little bit of build, the great thing was that Beyond gave you a small video package. Like I said, they gave us a small video package for this next match, which is the the Wrestling Open Tag Team Championships. And swipe right of Ricky Smokes and Brad Baylor, who we talked about before on NXT, on Taking Over, on all the great shows we talked about them. Taking on, as Bobby would know them, the B3 boys, but as I know them and as I love to see them more than ever, I like to see them as these guys, the Shooter Boys. Mm-hmm. Anthony Vecchio and Aaron Ortiz. I love these two teams, and I love each of these teams individually. Aaron Ortiz and Anthony Vecchio are so good at making crisp, clean catch can wrestling look fun and interesting. They are part of the Creative Pro Wrestling Academy down there in New Jersey. Fantastic work from Brian Myers there, as he is the most professional wrestler. Also, Pat Buck does a lot of the training down there.
Yeah.
It is not the B3 boys. It is the Shooter boys. We will talk about Mr. Ichiban, number one Ichiban, a little bit later on. But yes, this is indeed Ichiban country. I do love me some Ichiban. What did you think of this tag team match here for the titles?
Yeah, like you said, we were already like familiar with Swipe Right. They're not necessarily my cup of tea, so I'm like still on the fence about them so far. But Shooter Boys, I really enjoy them. I love the back and forth they had there. I was gonna say they're more like the type of stuff that I like to watch in wrestling, with the fast paced, high flying type of style. So I feel like they fit right in with me. And it was one of those, like, even from the beginning, based on the story they gave us, like you said, the video package, I just kept cheering for them the whole time. I was like, please win, because I want to watch you win after this. And I love the fact that they keep, every time that they think they have it figured out, Swipe Right would come in and do something and kind of like break off the momentum that we're building, if that makes sense. So every time I'm like, yeah, they're gonna win it, and then Swipe Right would do something, I'm like, no, I don't like it, don't do that. And I kept cheering for them somehow. But I loved the double pedigree and the double jackknife they did at one point in the match too. But especially that ending when they go from like the German to the super kick, and that's how they go towards the ending here for the Shooter Boys to win. I really enjoyed it. After they won, I went, yes, please. I'm so glad. But I love the storytelling they had here from the beginning of, like, Swiper has been champions for a while. They, they know each other. They have such a really type of relationship that it will be hard for them to beat him. And this is the last chance the Shooter Boys have for the championship. So I was like, please, this is one of those things, like, when you see that type of story, you want to cheer on for that person, because it's probably going to be like their last championship match if they lose it. So I like how the fact that just by the commentary and the video package, you made me want to cheer on the Shooter Boys even more.
Yeah, I agree wholeheartedly. I thought the story on commentary was the fact that the Shooter Boys not only this is their last chance because they won a three-way. They had a six-man tag tournament just recently on Wrestling Open, and the winners of that tournament got to go ahead and have a world championship shot and a tag team championship shot, and both of those were cashed in for this night. And yes, Creative Pro Wrestling, as in the origin of Chris Statlander, also Gabby Forza, also the Shooter Boys. MJF is a Creative Pro Academy graduate as well. And yes, Americanrana was August 29th, which is the show that we were reviewing right now.
Yep.
The combo blockbuster is really good. I love that combo blockbuster that the Shooter Boys do. It's really fun and interesting. And at the end of the day, we do have new tag team champions in the Shooter Boys. Big ups to them. And again, I think this was important because it's only a matter of time before Swipe Right is officially signed to WWE, and they move from ID contracts to legitimate WWE contracts, if they haven't already. So I think with the way some of these results were going, I think that there's a potential chance that there's going to be a lot more vanity project going on WWE television in the near future. We then get to Timothy Thatcher taking on Fancy Ryan Clancy. And this is an interesting one because the story of this match isn't Fancy Ryan Clancy versus Timothy Thatcher. It's a story all around Ryan Clancy and the main event that's going on this show, and how he can't accept what happened to him. And he's starting to change, and he's becoming a bad guy, both literally and figuratively. And I love that. Like, I love how it's like Timothy Thatcher just happens to be there in this guy's way, because he's the perfect, not a babyface, not a heel, for whoever you put in the ring with him. He's the babyface or the heel for that guy. And how Timothy Thatcher didn't work in WWE is still beyond me, because Timothy Thatcher seems built for WWE. He's tall. He can wrestle. He can cut a promo if absolutely necessary. He's better not talking, but like he can cut a promo if he needs to. Like he has the ability to talk and cut a compelling promo, but it's the last thing I want to see Timothy Thatcher doing. I just like seeing him beat people up. Yeah. Bloodsport is a perfect example. Like the promo he cut at the end of Bloodsport, or at the end of his match on Bloodsport, is exactly what you want from Timothy Thatcher. You don't want him cutting a promo every week, but every now and then you want Timothy Thatcher getting on the microphone and reminding you that he can still cut a compelling promo. This match was fantastic because Fancy Ryan Clancy can do all of the things that Timothy Thatcher can do, but he just doesn't do them in the Timothy Thatcher way. Because Timothy Thatcher does seemingly everything Timothy Thatcher does is just slightly different than how everybody else does it. It reminds me of Pete Dunne. And I always interlock Pete Dunne and Timothy Thatcher because they feel like the American and the English version of the same thing.
Yeah. It feels weird to say, but for so long, because he doesn't talk obviously often, as you say, there were so many times that I kept forgetting that Timothy's American because he looks so Britishy. And I was like, every time I see him, I was like, I would expect him to have an accent when he talks, and when he doesn't, I go, I thought you were British. And I keep forgetting about it because you don't hear him often. So it's not like you don't have like a voice to go to it because you don't hear it that often. But it's always funny when I see it. I'm like, like you said, it just reminds me of Pete Dunne. So I think he's British, and then I realize he's not.
Also, it doesn't help that he was in Imperium with all of those guys. So, like I said, I love Timothy Thatcher. I think he's great. And this match is fantastic. And the fact that Ryan Clancy gets the win, and then Timothy Thatcher's like, hey, good job, kid. You beat the grizzled old veteran. Good job. Let me stick my hand out. And then he just walks away. Because again, he's telling this story, and the story is part of the main event. But I just love it because you do such a great job explaining why Ryan Clancy, to people who have never really watched this show, to sit down and watch it. We both understand exactly what Ryan Clancy's dealing with, which is that Bobby Orlando hit him with the championship, and he lost the title, and he never got his rematch, and he's still mad at Bobby Orlando, and he can't get over it, and he's angry and he's pissed, and he's starting to change because of it. And they tell that story so great here that when he comes out in the main event, it makes perfect sense, and it adds to the drama of that match instead of just being another thing in that match. Because, God, there was a chance that match could be another thing.
Yeah, that's with this match, too, because I'm so used to Timothy. I don't want to say he wins all the time, but it's like that type of person that you would expect him to win in this type of match, for example. And I like the fact that you said commentary explains so well the storytelling. And not only do we have commentary telling us what happened, but the way that Clancy is also wrestling gives you a more of that's another layer to the story in itself about his attitude. They said, oh, he has an attitude change because of what happened to him. And you can see it in ring style, the way he's wrestling, because thinking about both of them, I look at Timothy because somebody that I'm familiar with, and I'm like, he has so much experience that you can't expect him to win the match because of this, not only the style, but the experience here. But it shows that Ryan is so angry and upset that his anger is what it's basically leading him on this match and giving him that win at the end over Timothy, or somebody who's so tough. And it's great to see that story, not only in commentary, but with the wrestling complementing each other so well that you're able to tell. It's like, oh yeah, he's so angry, so he wrestled a little bit differently. You can see his attitude not only in the way he wrestles, by his body language, in the way that commentary tells you everything. It added so much to it. At first I was surprised to have Ryan win it because I'm thinking Timothy has more experience. Timothy should win it, but it makes sense with the storyline going on that Ryan wins in the end. So I was like, okay, that makes sense with everything that they just told us a few minutes ago. So that's why I really enjoy more than anything this match, because of the storytelling behind it.
Yeah, and again, like I said, we're not trying to take down other promotions. I just like how coming in fresh, coming in new on a big wrestling show, for most of these matches, we understood exactly what's going on and what's going. And again, this next match is another thing. I know all about Stetson Ranch. I know all about big business because I see a lot of the clips on Twitter, and I know what's going on between these groups. And that's the next match. We have an 8-person tag between Big Business, being made up of Victor Cruz, otherwise known as the Riz, Julio, What was his last name? I forgot.
No, it's Julio Cruz and Victor Chase.
Oh, Victor Chase and Julio Cruz. I screwed him up.
Yeah.
Bobby's favorite professional wrestler in the entire world, Love Doug, and TJ Crawford, the Silver Bullet, the Silver Sniper, taking on the Stetson Ranch. Now, we've talked about, I knew that was coming. We've talked about Danny Miles before, Astrid. We like Danny Miles, part of the unit, JT Dunn tag team partner. When you think of Danny Miles, you think of tough. You think of badass. You think of the guy carrying, you might not think of this, but I know I think of this. The guy carrying around the barbed wire wrap crutch. That's Danny Miles to me. So it always makes me smile and chuckle and laugh when I see Danny Miles come out with the fucking cowboy hat on. It's just so much fun. We also have in this Steve Stetson, who is from New Jersey and owns a ranch in New Jersey. I don't think that's actually physically possible. Who would own a ranch and put it in New Jersey? And then we also have Charles Mason, who's obviously a play on Charles Manson. I love him. I think he's great. He does. If you need to watch something of this guy's work, him versus Gigi Dolan, I forget where they did it the last couple, but they did it in the last month or so. And that was a sensational match I really enjoyed. Astrid, what did you think about the storytelling here? Did they give you enough to understand the big business versus Stetson Ranch feud, like we got in the last match with the fancy Ryan Clancy stuff?
Yeah, this one made me laugh particularly because the guys dressed up the way they were as the cowboys. I just felt like I was, if any girl that loves any cowboy romances would love to see these guys dress up like this. To be honest, I'm not saying because I don't have them. I haven't read them yet, so I'm not particularly in that umbrella yet. But I just imagine that in the Charles dressing up and like basically changing his outfit to match them at the end. That really got me because I was not expecting that from him. I know I seen clips here and there from him, so it's something that I expected to happen for him to match up with them at the end. Um, but I feel like I love the storytelling more with the Timothy match, more a little bit more than in the Ryan than this one. But I still like the storytelling they give us with the commentary, how they explain things to us, and I was gonna say it felt different than the other one, but I liked what they showed us here. This is another one. Did you have the time of how long this one was? Because I feel like this one felt like it was a little bit shorter too than what I expected it to be with as many people as it had. Maybe it was the vibe that it gave me. I'm not sure.
I do not have a time for this match. I did also, by the way, put up this in the front. These four gentlemen are, well, three gentlemen are Stetson Ranch, and the guy on the far left is Charles Mason.
Mm-hmm. I feel like they did great with the character work. That's something that I will give them props for. But I feel like the storytelling, I enjoyed it more with the Timothy Ryan match than with this one. I do love when I forgot his name because I didn't get to like have the notes while I was working. But the other member that comes out at the end when he's able to hug them and like the storytelling that we get from that, I did like that. Yeah.
Big bacon, Brad Hollister.
There you go.
He is the biggest of the bacons. I love me some big bacon. It's funny because he's the leader of that group, but I was surprised to see TJ Crawford doing all the leading and all the video promos they showed going into this, and it makes sense. A little bit of background on this: Big Business was the faction that ran Wrestling Open for a while, for a better part of almost a full year. They held everything. They were the tag team champions at one point. Brad Hollister is the former Wrestling Open champion himself. They kind of ran the show, and they kept bringing people in. Like Love Doug was a guy who was fighting against them, who ended up going into the group at the end because that was the twist. It's really good. I enjoyed this match. I think it's a fun match. It does all the things it needed to do, but it didn't do anything spectacular. And then the beatdown from the Stetson Ranch on Love Doug post-match after he gets the win, only to bring Brad Hollister, Big Bacon, back out, gives them a big send-off. Big Business is now baby faces. It does everything it needed to do. Was it my favorite thing on the card? No. But I agree with you. I think it did all the things it needed to do to tell us why, during this match, why it made sense. Why we were seeing this and whatnot. And again, for independent wrestling, so often things just happen because that's what's on the card. That I like for a big show like this, it wasn't just matches happen. It was, here's the story for why almost all of these matches happen. We get part 1 of the 3-part documentary series on the main event, which I don't believe Astrid watched, so I'm going to talk about these. Because this is a 4-hour show, and Astrid didn't want to watch the whole 4 hours, so she skipped anything that wasn't wrestling.
Yeah, you're very right about that.
Oops, was I not supposed to say that?
I don't care.
So in this part, we break down the ChCha crew. The ChCha crew was Bryce Donovan, or Bryce D. Shook, as he is on Twitter, and Bobby Orlando. They were the ChCha crew. They were a great tag team. They would go all around the Northeast running that tag team, and they're fantastic. Bobby Orlando is the comedy gimmick. Bryce is the big heater who, makes it all make sense. They're a great tag team. But they lose a big match. Bryce turns on him, and everything changes. And it's so great that we had this 2-minute, 3-minute video that was part 1 of a story documenting why this main event matters. These are the things that set up the main event. That's great. These are the kinds of things that I wish more independent promotions would do. But again, as Bobby can attest to, these are hard to put together when you don't have teams that do this. So to be able to be a big enough promotion like a Beyond, like a Chaotic, to be able to make hype videos for your matches, that's a big plus in your favor, and it's one of the reasons why I've really enjoyed this promotion. Millie also says, anytime Charles Mason works with Charlie Evans and Evan Connors is going to be fantastic, and Masha Smemovich. Yeah, like I said, I love the Charles Mason character. I think there's a lot to that character. He's not a serial killer, but if somebody told you he was a serial killer, you'd totally believe he's a serial killer. So it makes a ton of sense. We also don't know our matches most of the time too far in advance, plus thinking. No, I agree, Bobby. But like I said, I just love the idea of giving it that WWE feel. And I host from WWE because that's what I watch on a regular basis. But having that, big match. Here's your main event for one of your big shows. Here's a video package chronicling the 2 people in it. Makes a ton of sense. Mm-hmm. We then go to MLW. We've already seen WWE ID talents. We've seen a talent from TNA. We're now going to a former MLW talent, because I don't believe he's there anymore, as we have Ryan Gosling taking on Angel Ortiz. To which Ed goes, I've missed watching Angel Ortiz. To which Astrid goes, yeah, me too. I really miss him working with Santana. And I go, since when did Angel Ortiz work with Santana? And then she goes, because this is Ortiz from Santana and Ortiz, Pride and Powerful. This is Santana and Ortiz, Latin American Exchange. And I'm like, the fuck it is? It was.
That was so funny. And I think I felt embarrassed that reading, I had copy and pasted the names on the card as I was taking the notes, but I read the name Angel Ortiz and it didn't ring a bell to me that it was him. So I was embarrassed that it took me that long to notice it was him. But then I see him coming out and I was like, wow. The first thing I thought was in a message when I said it, this is the first event to my knowledge, right? Because I don't see everything, that I see Santana and Ortiz in the same event, because they haven't worked together since AEW, since Santana left. So I was like, wait, I don't think I've seen them having the same booking or the same event together, because I had seen already that Santana is part of the card a little bit later. So I was like, oh, that's interesting. I haven't seen them since their fallout, together. So I was like, this is the first time I had them listed in an event together as it is. And then your reaction to be like, wait, this is Ortiz, the Santana Ortiz? I'm sorry, that was super priceless. But the man looks great. He moves amazing. I love his smooth operator entrance. Keep it going. I love that.
Hang him high. Gotta shout out Hang. Anytime I hear Smooth Operator, I gotta shout out Hang 'em High of Penta fame. If you don't know who it is, you gotta follow the guy on Twitter. He is fantastic. One of the best follows I've ever made. This is a showcase match for Angel Ortiz. Like, let's be honest. It's a fine match. Now, Bobby goes on a bit of a tirade here, talking about this being a fucking nightmare, watching Brett Ryan Gosling. I like the Brett Ryan Gosling character. I especially like the Brett BRG character that we got here. Because this BRG is very different than the BRG I've seen everywhere else. This BRG has a heater. This BRG isn't associated with Bobby Fish. So already better than anything that he did in MLW because he's not associated with Bobby Fish. But I love this. I thought Angel Ortiz had a really good connection with the crowd because he is beyond original. When this company kind of got its start, he was one of the guys who was working the indies at the time. He's one of the guys who would be on those shows. So I like that because I remember old shows from the area watching Angel Ortiz and not realizing that they're the same. They might not. I don't know. Sometimes tag team partners just go through shit where this doesn't work for everybody. Show the thing. Wait, no, don't. I don't know what thing we're supposed to show, but I don't know. I love this. I thought it was great. And then BRG gets the win with the spinning neck breaker Tony D'Angelo move that Tony D'Angelo did. It's a fine match. I could have done without it, but I know what she wants. Hold on, I got you. I don't know if I'm allowed to do it anymore, but we'll do it anyway.
And I mean, folks, where's the lie?
There you go. There you go, Millie. I got you.
Should be fine. It's only a couple of seconds.
Yeah. What did you think?
To answer Millie's question, I don't want to say hate, but I think they probably decided to part their ways more than just during the show, but like more like personally as well. That's why I was shocked that they were on the same card because that's what I say from what I recall. I haven't seen them in a card together since the whole AEW Fallout thing. So, yeah, that's why I was very surprised when I saw the name here. I was like, oh, this is the one. Got it. Yeah, this is one of those things like kind of similarly to the Timothy and Brian match a little bit ago. This is one that I thought, Ortiz has the experience here, so I kind of expect him to win, being the veteran that he is. And the way that Brett just takes control of the match and he showcases himself so well, and Ortiz actually allows him the opportunity to be able to do that as well. It goes really well at the end for him. I just expected Ortiz to win, so when he did, I was very surprised. But at the end, I thought, this is a good showcase for him, being that he beat somebody of like Ortiz that has been in major promotions already. So this is another one. I think the match didn't last very long either. But again, it's like just seeing Ortiz looking as great as he's looking, coming out the Smooth Operator, and I say this is gonna continue happening. Please sign me up because I want to see this more often, please.
Yeah, I'm all in for more Smooth Operator Angel Ortiz out there on the indies. So we can find more Smooth Operator Angel Ortiz. We'll get it. We then move on to the IWTV Championship match. So the IWTV Championships are championships that are defended on multiple different independent promotions that are mostly all broadcasted on IWTV. They are not run by Beyond, but they're kind of showcased by the people who run IWTV. This match is with the reigning champion and WWE ID talent, Marcus Mathers, not Matthews. For those in the chat who might have confused it, like my co-host did, Marcus Mathers taking on the always ready King of the Indies, King of the Deathmatch, the man who's lucky enough to be married to Chelsea Greene. And if you don't think that's part of the gimmick, you didn't watch the match. Matt Cardona. Oh my God. I love the fact that Matt Cardona loves his wife so much that he'll do every and anything. He wore the Chelsea Greene shirt for the majority of the match. The best part is you have one of the guys on commentary, Paul Donez, going insane about Matt not taking off the shirt. Because Matt's in good let's all be honest. We've seen Zack Ryder nowadays. Matt Cardona looks incredible. He's shredded, he's tanned, he's great. He looks fantastic. Then that he was wrestling in a t-shirt is kind of hysterical.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
It took me forever to realize it was a Chelsea Greene t-shirt.
No. And to answer Billy's question, I thought of a longest Santana Ortiz were brothers revealed. No. I'm sorry to disappoint. They're not. They're just two Puerto Rican brothers.
Puerto Ricos.
Yes.
I love this match. I thought this match did everything it needed to do. Matt Cardona is so good in the ring. And how he's not back in WWE yet is a... I guarantee he's making more on the indies. And I guarantee he wouldn't be utilized as good as he could be. But if he were willing to do what Chelsea does, I think he'd be utilized amazingly on WWE television.
Mm-hmm.
And honestly, for a guy who claims he doesn't want to go back to WWE, he talks about going back to WWE all the fucking time.
Oh, yeah.
No, I thought the match was great. Marcus Mathers is an incredible talent. Incredible talent. Well, yeah, I don't like the death matches either. And we'll talk about death matches a little bit more because we got another guy who is starting to fall in love with the death match and it's making me cringe a little bit. But no, I thought this was great. Marcus Mathers won this title recently within the past 6 months from Articus in a match. And I love how commentary talks about it. Mathers won this title covered in his own blood. And I've seen the picture because I remember the night he won it. He's got, it's not Eddie Guerrero levels of blood dripping down his face, but it's definitely Mox level of blood. It was an incredibly hard match that I've still refused to watch because that's not the shit I'm willing to watch. I'm not into the death matches, and Cruel is about just as close to death match without being a death match as I can get.
Mm-hmm.
But other than that, I think the idea that Matt Cardona loses in the way he loses by getting caught up in the gimmick is the perfect way to make Matt Cardona lose a match without making Matt Cardona feel like a no. What did you think?
And I think, if I'm not mistaken, this is the one I mentioned that he's had it since January. And they were like, at first, I like the fact that in the comments they say, yeah, he wanted December 31st, but it was past maintenance, so I guess it was January 1st, technically.
Yeah.
I love how they bring that up to showcase that he, no matter what, he's held this championship for so long at this point. Cardona starting up with the mind games the way he does, trying to get out of the ring pretty often and like trying to stopping his momentum the way he did. And then even getting his pretty hurt blocked at one point. I wanted to see it, but I got blocked. I said, dang it, I don't think I ever seen him do it yet, me personally. So that's what I was excited when that part, and then it got blocked. I was like, dang it. But again, this was one of those matches that you think Mike Cardona is a bigger name. He's probably going to win the championship. He's like already the internet champion. So might as well. And then it's kind of always in a way kind of surprising seeing him also lose the match, but at the same time I feel like it doesn't hurt him. Marcus had a great showcasing in the match in itself, and I really enjoy that. But yes, for so long I thought his name was Marcus Matthews, and it was hard to unsee it every time I see it. I had to remind myself that it's not Matthews now, so if I say Matthews, it's probably him most likely.
Yeah, no, this is great. I really like this match. Again, they didn't do anything spectacular in this match, but it was such a good wrestling match that I just enjoyed. I have almost no notes because I just watched the match. Just sat there and watched it, really enjoyed it. It was a sensational match. And again, I've always loved Matt Cardona. I'm one of the people that when Zach was getting pushed, mini push they gave him. I carried to the garden, the TV garden, a sign that Rider or Riot. Like I was one of the Long Island IC people. Like I love Matt Cardona and everything he does. We then get to DJ Powers. Douchebag Junior Powers comes out to the ring for his open challenge.
Wow.
Nobody signed the open challenge, so he goes ahead and says, I'm just going to come out here and give my open challenge. Well, somebody answered the open challenge, indeed. And it was TNA's own #1 contender, Mike Santana, comes out to the crowd. Yes, it is Marcus Mathers and not my. Yes. I had to do the whole thing with Astrid already earlier. And that was the example I gave. Marshall Mathers, not. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways, DJ Powers gets his ass kicked for a good 10 minutes, it feels like, in this. But it was exactly what it needed to be. DJ Powers is the type. This is the type of match that you bring in a big star, and if you're not going to put the big star in a big match, you give him somebody young, hungry, and over. And DJ Powers is over as a heel. This crowd hated him. They didn't want any part of DJ Powers here. So you bring in the babyface. You bring in El Padrino. You bring in the Boricua, the Bronx Boricua, all the things. Paul Dundas on commentary was all in on his countrymen in this match. I could hear Astrid just loving all the Puerto Rican love in this match.
Yes.
From the commentary team.
I think that was definitely my favorite part. Just the excitement that I got from commentary for having Mike Santana on this match. There's these like I knew it beforehand because I had making, like I said, I was making the notes, so I had the match card written beforehand, so I was not surprised when he came. But still, it's like it's always a pleasure when I get to see Mike Santana wrestle. So why not? I'm proud that he's the representation that we have here. But yeah, overall, I was a little bit afraid of it at first because we had seen already Timothy losing and we had seen Cardona losing. So I went, oh no, Santana's gonna lose this match. I'm not gonna be a fan of it whatsoever. But I feel like you said one of the instances that even though the veteran is the one winning, the younger talent is also getting showcased in a great way. So they don't necessarily have to win the match in itself. And being able to see Santana like outside of that, and even like the way the crowd loved him too. This is something that I was kind of, I don't want to say doubting, but is what he started doing his like solo run now. It's one of those things like I was wondering how the fans were going to perceive him, being that he had been a tag team man for, he was in a tag team for so long, that it's different when you're able to branch out for yourself and be yourself when then like your own character here. And seeing him the way he has so far and the way that the people have been able to connect with him in a different way they did before, because it's been himself more than anything. And I love seeing that no matter where he's at, it could be TNA, it could be NXT, and even here, the crowd reaction that he gets is always great. And I feel like people are able to connect a little bit more with him now than they did before. And I feel like this solo run has been one of the best things that ever happened to him. And I'm very proud of like the way like I've seen him grow with that connection that he's had with the crowd. So I'm very happy. So when I saw this, I was like, yes, I'm glad he's here. So I'm glad I have my two Boricuas on the card today. But overall, it was a fun match. I like his like Three Amigos thing that he did at one point. But I feel like they had really good chemistry. I feel like the match it felt like a little bit short. I wanted a little bit more from it. But I like that they had chemistry, and I'm not going to complain about Santana winning the match either. So.
No, I loved when they would have DJ chop Santana, and he'd just like stand there and look at him like, "That's it, pretty boy. That's all you got." Mm-hmm. This match was laid out beautifully. DJ Powers is gonna be a star. Like this kid is so young and so good. He only has up to go. Like he's gonna be a star. And people like Santana, him putting over a guy like Santana isn't going to go unnoticed from WWID. It's not going to go unnoticed from people at TNA, because wrestling Santana means this is your shot at TNA Digital. Because people like Santana are going to go back to Carlos Silva and tell him, hey, I was on the Indies. This guy's no good. Don't bring him in. Hey, I was at this show at Beyond Wrestling at the end of August. This kid's over. This kid's got something. Let's bring him in. Let him do a TNA Explosion match. Those are the kinds of things that you want. So wrestling a guy like Santana, who's signed to a company, these are great matches for the talent. Even if you lose, to have that guy have faith in you, or to have that guy come out of that match thinking that you're talented, is some of the best things that you can do for your own career. So even if you're a selfish bastard, and like I said, DJ plays one on TV, but is he that way in real life? I just love it for him, because I think audiences would love to boo a guy like DJ Powers on a bigger stage. Like, could you imagine that guy doing that gimmick in a bigger TNA audience, or in an NXT, PLE audience? Like, those are the kinds of things I look at with DJ Powers and go, those are the things in the next 5 years I see him do. Yeah. And I want to do that because this isn't the first match with him and his girlfriend will be wrestling later on in this night. And it's the exact same thing for her in that match. And we'll get to that in a minute, because, oh boy, does Astrid have thoughts on that match. But before we get there, we've got one more match, and this is one of my matches of the night. I mean, there's 14 matches on this card, so I have to have more than one match in the night. This is in my top 3. Miracle Generation taking on Brando Lee and number 1 Ichiban. I love this. This is not my wheelhouse of professional wrestling. The flip-de-doo-dah stuff isn't my wheelhouse. We all know that. I appreciate it. I appreciate the skill and the talent it takes to do it. But I very rarely find these to be my favorite matches on things. These guys work so well together and so good. And Brando Lee was such a... Yes, he does get a flash on the flippy-dippy shit. I'm a big... As we know from earlier, where was Eric's comment? Yes, where is Eric's first comment? This is indeed Ichiban country here on Taking Over. We can be in Ichiban country. But Miracle Generation is starting to get a place in my heart. Because this is the 3rd time I've watched these guys now in the past 2 months. And I'm falling in love with these guys. These guys are so talented and so fast, but also so crisp. That's the thing about this match, is a lot of times with these flippy matches, there's a lot of mistakes. There's a lot of little things that go wrong. This was crisp. This was clean. This was really well done. And the story they told made perfect sense. Going back to platinum douchebag Matt Caster putting out the hit on Ichiban and putting out the $50,000 bounty that Miracle Generation ended up getting when they took Ichiban out. Which then when Ichiban came back, he came back in, and that's what led to this match. And again, kudos on commentary, kudos on the short video package before the match for making us understand that that's where this match is happening. That's the pivot point we're using, and getting that over in the ring with the talent and getting it over on commentary, telling that exact same story. Commentary made this match better than it was in the ring, and it was already pretty damn good in the ring. What did you think, Astrid?
Yeah, like you said, I'm more of the fan of like the flippy and the fast-paced kind of thing. So this is the match that I feel like it's more like in my wheelhouse in that aspect of it. I like anything that's fast-paced like this. So I wasn't familiar with any of them like this. And then when the match started, I was like, they had me hooked from the beginning. The way the chemistry they have with each other, the timing for everything. It's one of those that it's hard to describe aside from that. But I love the fact that the back and forth they have with each other. So it's like I had moments that I even know who was going to win this match because they kept pulling me one direction or the other one every time somebody did a certain move. But the timing of everything is one of the things that it went so smoothly, and I enjoyed a lot of this match because of that reason too. But more than anything, the style of the match and the pacing of it's what really got me hooked in here. And like you said, I was like, it's one of those things that I really loved, and I'm a fan of this stuff. So you happy with this match, to be honest?
Yeah, and for the record, because I didn't actually say it, Miracle Generation stole this match when they went ahead and held Dustin Waller held Kylon King's feet down while he was on the top rope, and he pinned Brando Lee. Sensational match. I'd never heard of Brando Lee before. I'm intrigued to see more of him. And I've actually watched the last 2 Beyond Wrestling shows after having watched this. I've gone back and watched some more Beyond Wrestling because I'm kind of invested now, because this was a really good show to get me in and get me invested. And the fact that they have weekly TV, it gives me a little something, because it's more than just a show every month. With some of these promotions, it's a show once a month or a show every 6 to 8 weeks. With this, we've got these short weekly shows that we can watch, that we can enjoy, and then culminate on a big show. Just makes it feel a little bit more like WWE in a way. And it feels more like AEW, or more like TNA, or more like any other televised wrestling product. And at the end of the day, that's the kind of stuff I enjoy. Like, don't get me wrong, I love the indies, but I love some continuity too. And this makes continuity, just brings it to another level. So I really enjoyed this. We have part 2 of the 3-part documentary on the main event. The push of Bryce Donovan, the signing of his WWE ID talent at Beyond Wrestling Show. Him working with Smart Mark Sterling, who was banned from the arena in this one because he lost the match the week before on the Wrestling Open Rhode Island show the week before, when Bobby Orlando pinned Smart Mark Sterling to kick him out of the arena for this show, for the main event tonight. And then, of course, everything that happened between Fancy Ryan Clancy, Bryce Donovan in their main event match, and Bobby Orlando hitting Clancy with the title belt. Again, we already knew that happened, but it was nice to see the visuals, to understand what happened, and to understand the change that it took in Bryce Donovan and the new character he developed. It's a really good video package. It was a bit longer than the first one, but again, it's setting up that main event to be an epic match, because we're getting these matches throughout. The next match, however, there were some unepic things about this. Astrid, I want you to go ahead and talk about it, because the one thing we haven't talked about tonight is the crowd. I will say, for almost this entire show, this crowd was everything you would have wanted from an independent crowd. They were quiet during the periods where they needed to be quiet, but they were loud and raucous at the times they needed to be loud and raucous. With the exception of one moment that really pissed off Astrid. Astrid, you want to talk about that?
I was disappointed. This is the only time that this match, I want to say it incorrectly just in case, but I know it was Chris that they're coming out first. And my disappointment was, I understand that it's a different theme song, because not the theme song she uses at AEW. So I understand like the crowd being quiet at first, but once you see who that person is, you get to be able to like cheer for them. But it was very surprising that we see Chris Statlander come out and it's crickets. There's no reaction. There's no cheering or booing. There's just no reaction whatsoever. And it just, I kept thinking, what happened here? And it's like, usually when there's those names that people know, they'll cheer for them even more. But either way, whether it's a face or heel, you get them some type of reaction. And I feel like even she noticed it when she was like almost towards the ring, because she kept looking around. And it was very quiet. I feel like the other, is it Livia?
Livia, yeah.
Yeah, she got a bigger reaction. I understand she's obviously going to be there more often than Statlander is. But she had a bigger reaction than Statlander did. And I was very surprised about that. And I don't know if it was the booking from AEW and people don't know how to like react to her, whether she's a face or heel. But aside from that, I couldn't think of a reason as to why she wouldn't get a reaction, because a lot of people love Stat. So it's like, if I was in a local indie show and all of a sudden Statlander comes out, I'll be cheering for her, because it's not often that you get to see this talent. I know that they take indie bookings here and there, but it's not often that it happens. So it was very surprising for me seeing that more than anything. But overall, I like the match because I feel like we got to see. I just kept putting live in my notes because I thought it was easier for me. But I like how she didn't let Statlander, being the veteran that she is, take advantage of her in that sort of way. Because there's a one point in the match that she's on the ground and then Stat gives her hand and she almost shakes it, but she takes advantage of it and continues on further. She's like, I'm not gonna let you do it. I'm gonna do it for myself. And I like those moments that just when you think Statlander's it has her, then she comes out and reverses it somehow and is getting her favor somehow. But I really enjoyed that from her. At one point, Statlander did an F5. That was pretty nice to see as well. It's like anybody that does it except for that man, I was very happy about. So I love that. Um, but yeah, I feel like they had a good back and forth. And this is another one. It's like very similarly to that Santana match. That even though we have somebody that's a younger talent being here with the veteran, that Stat was able to showcase her at the end, even though she won the match. So I feel like that they really, really well have a balance of like really off showing themselves, both of them in this match.
Yeah, Livia is the boy. Is she is the partner of DJ Powers. Her dad is Edward G. Ecstasy, who was a former wrestler in this area. She gave him a big hug before the match as she was coming down. She defeated Davian going into this match and what they had was a dreams match. Basically, it was like a chase your dreams match, and whoever got the win would get to call out their dream opponent, and it was Kris Statlander. And it's funny because Statlander isn't unfamiliar to this audience. Like, we've seen her in AEW. We've seen her here. Kris Statlander comes on the indies in the Northeast fairly regularly. Like, not anymore, but like Statlander was everywhere on the indies for a long time. And like Astrid said, I don't know if it's the booking that she has in AEW because I don't know what the AEW booking is. I don't know if it's good. I don't know if it's bad. All I do know is that she's no longer the alien, and I'm wondering if that's part of it. That people have just fallen out of the Kris Statlander character because that alien gimmick was so over when she was on the indie scene. It obviously doesn't necessarily work for television wrestling, and characters adapt, and they develop, and they change over the course of time. And there's nothing wrong with that. But, I don't know, like you said, there was no audio issue because we heard commentary fine, we heard the crowd, but they weren't making any noise for Kris Statlander, and it was obvious, and it was a bit, like I said, a bit disappointing because this is Livia's dream opponent, according to the story that we're being told. Obviously it's Livia's told to pick Kris Statlander because she's announced for the show, we're bringing her in. But, it is what it is. The match itself is really good. It gives a great showcase to Livia while letting Kris Statlander get the big win. And just like her boyfriend, DJ Powers, it does exactly what it needed to do. It makes her look good, and Kris Statlander can now go back to Tony Khan, Christopher Daniels, the team over there at AEW, and she can say Livia either gets a plus or a minus. And when AEW comes back to Boston in November, in a couple of weeks, maybe she's on one of the shows. Maybe she works a Ring of Honor show. Maybe she works one of the AEW, dark matches. You never know. So I love Livia. I think Livia is great. I've seen her more and more. I continue to enjoy everything she does. And like you, the one thing that stood out to me, if nothing else in this match for Livia, was she got knocked down by Kris Statlander. Kris Statlander, being the sarcastic, cocky veteran, goes to give her hand, and she just takes the hand, and as soon as she's on 2 feet, right behind her, German suplex. I thought it was such a smart move from the rookie. Love it, love it. And she's 18. Livia is 18 years old. So one, it made me feel like fucking dirt because I feel old as fuck listening to this Livia at 18 years old. It's like anytime I see Ella J on my TV screen, I feel old as dirt. Kimmy Sokol on my TV screen, I feel old as dirt. Livia makes me feel the same way. We then move on to our semi-main event with somebody who Astrid still wants to interview. So, Gabby, if you're listening, please respond to Astrid. She wants to interview you for Astrid Asks. The Savage Nomies takes on Articus Cruel and Shotzi Blackheart in a tag team match. Oh, the Savage Nomies. Bear Bronson, the new deathmatch guy. Bear, stop doing death matches. I want to watch everything Bear does, but every time there's a death match, I have to just ignore it like it doesn't exist, and I hate it. And Gabby Forza are just the cutest of cute teams. Gabby with her missing tooth from it getting knocked out by Channing Thomas at Limitless Wrestling, which she still. I love the fact that she still hasn't had it repaired. Like there's this big black gap in her teeth. It's the most indie wrestler thing I've ever seen. Because she works enough to get that fixed. Bear works enough to get that fixed. So it's an obvious choice that it's not yet fixed. Which is more of a character. Which is just so great. She then puts the little hat on Shotzi Blackheart. She then takes a bigger hat and tries to put it on Cruel. By the way, Astrid, I know you don't watch MLW much. What did you think of Mads Kruger or Articus Cruel here when he came out?
I liked it though. It's not what I expected him to be, but he just reminds me a lot of like the way he moved a little bit. Reminded me a lot of Dijak in a way, but just with the mask on. So I feel like I had to like tell myself that it's not Dijak. But it just reminded a lot of him as he was moving. But I thought it was interesting wrestling like that too. I don't feel like we don't get aside from anybody that of like the Mexican heritage, that type of mask is not like that at all. It's totally different from that. So I like the combination of it. I hope he's either a Halloween or horror fan or anything like that, because I can tell that's when the inspiration came from. So I'm hoping I'm correct on that, because I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, I think he's great. And by the way, I'm just bringing up a picture for those that don't know. Because this guy is a sight to see. This is Cruel, otherwise known as Mads Kruger if you're an MLW fan. He's a big, tall bastard. I love the way this match was booked. Around the idea that
no, don't make it.
We don't say the R word, because if we say the R word,
you're watching OLE, and this is a Dijak hijack.
Many times he appeared. Bobby, you love Mads Kruger. You're his biggest fan. What are you talking about? He scares you. Bobby, you guys would book Mads Kruger and you would be... Yeah, I know who you're talking about. I love how this match all came about because he went to chokeslam Gabby and it pissed off Bear. And so this tag team out of it. It's a great reason to have this match. My favorite spot of this whole match is right towards the end. We have the two guys get a chokeslam setup on both the girls. Cruel has Gabby, Bear has Shotzi. And they look at each other like they're going to do it. And then they put the girls down and they attack each other. And the girls are like, fuck you. How dare you do that to us? And both girls give a German suplex, each of the guys. And it's one thing for Shotzi to get Bear up. Bear's a big old dude. He's a bit he's me. He's a bit dude. But Shotzi got him up. But it's far more impressive that Gabby got Cruel all the way over her head. And if that's not enough, she then did a Death Valley driver so that Bear could get the win. Oh, mwah, chef's kiss. This match was far too quick at like 5 minutes, 6 minutes. But I think that match had time cut due to two reasons. One, the show was already 4 fucking hours long. And two, Shotzi's hurt. Shotzi's working hurt. As you could see, she had a big old cast on her arm. She's obviously not 100%. Obviously, she's not hurt enough that she can't work, because she did great work here. But I guarantee you she's certainly not 100%. She wanted to keep the booking because she's a professional, and I love that about Shotzi. I always love Shotzi. I think she's a little crazy in the ring. I think she's a little reckless in the ring. But I love her effort. I love her energy. And I just want her to live. It's the only reason why I normally criticize her is because she's just a little too risky for my liking, because the things she does when she screws them up, she almost kills herself every time, which is the same thing about Sasha Banks. When she does the things that she doesn't do right, it looks like she's going to kill herself every time she does it. But I absolutely adore Shotzi. I love this match. I wish there was more of it, but I understand why there wasn't. So hopefully we get some of this another way. Or if we can just get Gabby versus Cruel at some point, I'm going to review that match too, because that sounds like a whole bunch of fun coming out of this.
Yeah, I love the same spot you did see, the one with the choke slam and then the German suplex on the girls. And I love the timing of it, because look at it this way. The guys were going to do the choke slam at the same time. They drop the girls at the same time, and the girls do the Germans at the same time. And it's fun to see it, because obviously they're from opposite teams, so you don't expect that to happen. But yeah, I was like, the way that she picked him up for that at the end, I was so impressed. And yeah, I like Abby. I would love to interview her one day. She's definitely one on my list. But overall, I enjoyed like the vibes more than anything from this match. It was something that was so fun, and it was so lighthearted. And it's one of those things like you had almost like kind of like a comedic type of match at the same time. And I feel like something that the card didn't have up until this happened. And it was something that was just for the funsies, as what you'd like to say. So I'm glad this match happened. I thought it would have been more up in the card. I didn't think it was going to be like the semi-main. So that's the part that surprised me about the order here. But overall, I enjoyed the match. I didn't even feel like it was 6 minutes. It felt like it was longer than that, because it was really fast paced. And the pacing of it, I feel like it made it seem like it was longer than what it was.
Yeah, like I said, it wasn't like it was a short match in a bad way. It just it was obvious it didn't get the fullness of what it wanted to be. Yeah. Because we all know Shotzi isn't one of those people who loves to do short matches. We know Cruel and Bear can do anything for as long as they want to. And Gabby Force is in my mind, she's one of the best women's wrestlers in the world today. I think she is one of the most talented women in all of professional wrestling. And to be honest, she's one of the most talented independent wrestlers, period. Male or female. I think Gabby Forza she connects with the crowd in a way that nobody else does, in such a unique and interesting way. From a person who played women's flag football to, the bodybuilding kind of aspect that she has, to the character that she has, where she makes a Goldberg character cool. Because if you haven't noticed by any of the Gabby Forza matches, she's essentially female Goldberg. But better. Because she can wrestle. We then get part 3 of the documentary series, basically the Bryce Donovan era of Wrestling Open, him winning the championship, the run he's been on since, and the way that this has affected Bobby Orlando. We see clips of Bobby Orlando and the Shooter Boys winning the tournament recently to go ahead and get this opportunity. We get him being told, look, you're going to have to put that opportunity up on the line if you don't want Mark Sterling here. And we even get and again, we need that line. Like we always talk about how in WWE, there's always that one line in a promo that gets you. The get you line in the promo was, that's why I got signed to WWE ID and you didn't. Such a great line. Billy says, I'd like to go back and say, how the hell did you not pop for the Stat Daddy? The audacity. I'll be honest. I'm not a huge Statlander guy. Just not. I think she's fine.
And I'm going to need a new co-host, because who doesn't like Statlander? Come on. Put in the chat. I wish people could see you, though. They can't. That's the only thing.
I know. That was for you. I bet you got a kick out of that one. Mm-hmm. For those that don't know, I took my headphones off and started to walk out of the room. Because you can't. So, the way StreamYard works, we have the on-screen that you see. But below it, we have like the little cameras where we can see what we're doing. And like if a guest pops in, we can see them before we put them on screen and things like that. So when you bring somebody off screen, we can still see everything that's on their camera. So I know she's watching, so I take the headphones off and I pretend to leave the room. It's great. I love doing it to her. Yeah, you're welcome. It's fine. The Wrestling Open World Championship, Bobby Orlando, the goatest of all goats, takes on Bryce Donovan, part of Vanity Project. He reigned for, this was his 5th title defense in a reign that was over 100 and I believe 80 days.
Something like that, yeah.
180, 200 days, something in there, I believe, if I remember correctly. In a 33-minute match. God, this match felt like it went on forever, but at the same time, everything that happened felt like it needed to be. The pacing of this match was really well done for a 30-minute match. With downtime and extra stuff and all kinds of craziness going on that this match had, the one thing I'll say about it is the pacing felt perfect. It did all the things it needed to do. It may have done too much. And it may have done too much early and not enough late. I don't know. Me and Ash will talk a little bit about that. But I want to get her thoughts on this. But I loved watching this match. I thought it was, let's put it this way. This match is the best main event match we've watched on the new Taking Over since it started. This is the best match we've watched, period, since we started the new Taking Over. And there have been some ones that I've really enjoyed and really loved, especially the last couple of weeks with Dreamwave and Uprising. And Bear versus Hammerstone on the Narcissistic Behavior show was up there. But this match took the cake for me. I thought this match was sensational. Match of the night. No doubt about it. What did you think, Astrid?
Like you said, it's one of those things like it felt that for me it felt overbooked, but not in a bad way. Because like you said, everything that happened, you feel like it needed to happen somehow for this ending to be the way it, for it to play out the way it did, basically. I'm used to like the way WWE is that right now everything's overbooked with their main events, and most of the time I'm like, I could have done without this. I could have cut that, and I could have waited for that to wait a little bit longer. But in here, everything that happened, it made sense the way it did. Going from VSK helping Brights in so many points, like distracting the referee and cutting the turnbuckle the way he did, and every time he did, it makes sense as well. And not only in this, I think he was at least 2 to 3 times that he interfered somehow or distracted the referee. But I think the biggest one was having Ryan is the one that came in towards the end of the match, and it makes sense based on what happened earlier with the storytelling with him and Timothy Thatcher. So this is another one that you see him interacting with Bryce. You see him interacting with Bobby, and the way it happens, it keeps you at the edge of your seat at the same time because you don't know how it's gonna go. And I like that it kept. When he came out, I was so invested on it. I was like, I wonder what he's gonna do. Who's he gonna side with? And seeing this play out the way it did, it was very interesting. It happened like, okay, I want to see. It didn't like for me. I wanted to finish already because it had been 4 hours, so I sped it up a little bit more than what it should have been. But overall, like the pacing of the match, it worked really well. I think this is the first time I watched Bryce like this, like a long match like this. And for somebody that is not the high flying, which is usually the type of person that I gravitate towards, I really enjoy the way he moves and the way that every time that Bobby was down, he would take it to like mock the crowd the way he did. So he always took advantage of the time that he had on screen, whether he was wrestling or he went around the ring at one point, took one of the posters from the kids and ripped it off. Like he would try to always do something. So there was really, I don't want to say rare, but it almost I feel like it didn't happen that he wasn't doing anything in the ring somehow, whether he was down or he was wrestling or entertaining the people or try to get them to like boo him, or like people were chanting like they wanted a new champion, and then some people were like, no, we want him, but a lot of the people were chanting to like for it to be a new champion at this point. But everything worked out so well in this match, and I was like, how long is this match? And I went to look, and right around the time when it started at the end, when they said it was like 32 minutes if I'm not mistaken, that I mentioned to you. And it felt long because it was already a 4-hour show, but this was 30 minutes that was very entertaining for me to begin with.
Yeah, Bryce is a sensation. I love all the things that Bryce can do. For a guy as big and tall and long hair as Bryce is, you figure like the style he's gonna work. He doesn't quite work that style. He's so good at being the smarmy heel where he gets he feels like a Seth Rollins in that way. Like he has that Rollins vibe where like he can make you hate him with a look or a word or just the way he does something. He makes you want to hate him. VSK getting kicked out after interfering for the third time was great. Cutting off of the ropes that hold the turnbuckle pad on to expose the turnbuckle. That Bryce himself ends up going into, and you're like, oh, that's the end of the match. Nope, he kicks out. And I'm like, oh wow, that's typically a spot you use to end the match. And then out comes fancy Ryan Clancy at some point a few minutes later, and you're like, all right, well, Clancy's going to take, Bobby Orlando out. So this is going to be the end of the match. And he sides with Bryce, and I'm like, oh no, Bob. Oh, poor Bobby. And then he helps Bobby up. And he's like, you take out Bryce. And Bobby falls back down again because Bobby's been beaten up a lot at this point. And Bryce attacks Ryan Clancy. So Ryan Clancy gives them a massive Randy Orton-style drop kick, and he leaves, leaving Bryce to have to do this on his own. So Bryce is trying to get the title. He can't do it. The ref goes down at one point. Ref Gina. By the way, Astrid, did you love how Ref Gina, how over she is? Did you enjoy that?
I love it. There was, I forgot if it was the first or second time it happened, but when they actually took her out, I think it was around the second time, even just like them taking her out, the reaction that she got from the crowd, that they were like booing because she got taken out the way she did. But I'm like, even the referee gets a reaction. Like, that's crazy. That's how into this match was, that everybody involved got a reaction somehow, because even VSK did it. He was at ringside.
Almost everybody got a reaction.
No, but in this match, everybody had a reaction somehow, and I really like that, because that really shows that even after a 4-hour show, and this is the main, they still have the connection with the crowd the way they did. That they're so invested in this, like no matter what happens, they're reacting to whatever is happening in front of them. Yeah,
we then have VSK come out, and VSK comes back out after getting kicked out, and he hits Bobby Orlando with the wrench. And I'm like, well, certainly that's the end of the match here. No, Bobby Orlando kicks out. And I'm like, all right, this might have gone a little too far, boys. That probably should have been it. I don't know if we can bring this back to where I'm gonna, think this is okay. And then they do something magical, and I love it. VSK gets a chair. He then gets a second chair, and he starts beating Bobby Orlando down with the chair. Just chair shot on the back after chair shot on the back. To the point where Bryce pulls VSK off of him 3 times. Bryce tells VSK that it's enough 3 times. And on the 3rd time, he takes the chair and throws it down. He's like, I'm sick of you. And even the commentary at this point is getting on it going, who's running the show here? Isn't VSK the problem solver? He's supposed to be the fixer. Since when did he become the boss? Remember, he's taking directives straight from Smart Mark Sterling. He's not taking it from Bryce Donovan. Well, he continues to take the orders from Smart Mark Sterling, and he wraps the chair around Bobby Orlando's neck. And I'm like, all right, I'm back. We've brought me back. This was too much. But now I'm back, because we're gonna do the big angle that's gonna write off Bobby Orlando for a length of time. Nope. Bryce Donovan slightly babyface turns by stopping VSK, kicking him out of the ring. Bobby Orlando gets back in the match. They do a quick 2 or 3 minute segment here. Bobby has the title belt. He wants to hit Bryce with it. He can't do it. Bryce can't hit Bobby with the title belt. They both agree to just keep wrestling. They wrestle. And in the end, Bryce Donovan loses to Bobby Orlando after Bobby Orlando gets the second rope cutter and then the top rope elbow for the 1, 2, 3 in the win. It's great. The way, and the best thing about all of this, and the lasting thing that I remember from this match, is at the end, it's one line from commentary where they say Bryce can't let go of the title. And it's in a wide shot, so you can really barely see it. But Ref Gina is trying to physically take the title from Bryce. and he's got a hand on the end of the belt, just holding it because he can't fathom relinquishing the title. I love that moment. It's such great storytelling. And again, for a match I didn't care about going into it, for a 32-minute match that was overbooked to hell, and it was, at the end of it, I loved everything about it. I thought it was the best match. And like I said, it's the best match I've watched on this show in the 5 or 6 weeks we've been doing this. I thoroughly was invested in this match. I was thoroughly happy for Bobby Orlando to win that title at the end. And again, I like Bobby Orlando. I like laughing at Bobby Orlando because to me, Bobby Orlando is a comedy character. The dude walks around with a fucking goat. Like, he walks around with a stuffed goat. It's like Hiromu Takahashi. Like, he walked around with Daryl. Yeah, I liked Hiromu Takahashi, but like the idea of Hiromu Takahashi being the IWGP champion is a bit laughable because that's not what his role is. In Swedish, that's like Bobby Orlando. I love Bobby Orlando, but Bobby Orlando's role isn't world champion. So I'm excited to see where Bobby Orlando goes from here because I want to see what world champion caliber Bobby Orlando is up to because that's going to be a fun run. Because you've got to imagine there's going to be a match with Ryan Clancy coming at some point in the near future. And they're setting up matches for new matches. I'm excited to see what happens from here in Beyond Wrestling because I think this show, more than any other, made me super invested in what comes next. Again, like Dreamwave two shows ago, 2 weeks ago, when I talked about Dreamwave and we watched it, the one thing coming out of that was I want more. With Uprising, I want more. I think with Beyond Wrestling, it's not only I want more, I'm going to find more. I'm going to watch these weekly shows. I'm going to invest in this product. In the same way I'm going to invest in Uprising. The same way I'm going to invest in Dreamwave. I'm psyched. This show has been such a good thing for my wrestling mental health. To not have to sit here and talk about WWE. And WWE's doing some cool stuff in NXT right now. They're getting ready for a homecoming show where we got DIY and Carmelo Hayes and Tyler Breeze and Tiffany Stratton and Rhea Ripley and Stephanie McCarron. They're all here. But at the end of the day, I didn't watch NXT tonight. But you know what I did watch tonight? I watched last night's Beyond Wrestling. I watched this show tonight. Because I watched this show for a second time to take notes on it after watching the full show on my own, just to get a vibe for the show. This show, and Astrid, thank you so much for allowing my stupid idea to come to fruition and do something like this. To invest in a different wrestling show every week. I'm really into this, and I'm really digging what we're getting to do. Happy birthday, you crazy Thea. Hopefully you found some coffee this week.
Yes.
If you don't know, you obviously don't know the coffee adventures of Thea Hale, if you don't know.
Yeah. Very true.
Astrid, what do you want to watch next week? We indulged my habit here. You sent me a show earlier this weekend. Do you want to change it up again and do Create a Pro Till Death Do Us Part? Or do you want to do... We're going to do Action Pro Wrestling?
Yeah. Let's do Action.
All right. So we're going to go... Our good friend Bryn from The Hive. If you haven't checked out The Hive on Substack, go ahead and check out their content. There's all kinds of great stuff, including... I mean...
It wasn't stupid. It's a leap of faith, to put it like that.
Yeah, to take an audience that expects us to be talking every Tuesday night about NXT into on a whim because of decisions that don't impact us on a weekly basis, because that guy's not going to be on our show at all. To change what we do is kind of a stupid decision. It's kind of an overreaction. But no, I do appreciate that I always loved independent wrestling, and we here at our local establishment love it. Like Ring Respect Radio is a show that covers a lot of independent wrestling, a lot of territory wrestling. And the idea of having two shows on the same network that don't cover WWE on a weekly basis, it's a bit of a liability. It's a bit of an understatement. But I will say I want to thank not only do I want to thank Astrid, I want to thank the people at home, because the numbers on these shows since taking over has changed have been insane.
Mm-hmm.
I was just going to say, the numbers don't lie, and it spells disaster for Samoa Joe at Sacrifice. But no, the numbers don't lie, and you people really enjoyed as much as we did.
Mm-hmm.
The numbers are better than our NXT, with the exception of Ella J on taking over a couple weeks ago when I went to eat. These numbers are substantially better than anything we've done for taking over in the band.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to thank you all for joining us on that route. We're going to be covering Action Wrestling next week. If we can get the new Dean show before Thursday, we're going to cover that. So there's 2 action shows we could cover. The most recent action show is not yet on IWTV. That's Action Dean. That's a slightly better card that I want to do. If not, we are going to be going ahead and talking about Action Retaliation, which took place on Friday, August 22nd. And again, this can be found on IWTV, right up there, independentwrestling.tv. And these matches include Little Mean Kathleen taking on Kelsey Reagan. It also includes our first chance to talk about one of Bobby's real favorite wrestlers. Alex Kane is going to be on there, so we're very excited to talk about that. And then, of course, one of starting to become one of my favorite wrestlers, Channing Thomas, is on this show as well. Yes, Bomaye. Bomaye is for the people. So Adam Priest, who's recently on Ring of Honor and AEW, Adam Priest is taking on Channing Thomas on this show. And there's a bunch of different people that I've never heard of, and people I've heard of that I haven't gotten a chance to look at, like A-Game. Joseph A-Game is on this show. I know he's a big fan of the TWC, are big fans of him, but I haven't had the opportunity to watch anything he's done. Mm-hmm. So that's on there. Whole bunch of good stuff on here. So it's either going to be Action Retaliation or Action Dean, one of the 2 shows, but it will be an action show. And we will have the show and the link to the show on Thursday night for you. So if you want to watch along with us, go ahead and do that. We greatly appreciate it. Astrid, tell the good fans where we can find you this week.
I wanted to say also the part about you said about the numbers and things like that. As Vinny's saying, that makes her happy. Yeah, because it's something that we had to talk about behind the scenes to like pull the curtain a little bit, is that it's a conversation not only that Ed and I had to have, but like OLE as a whole, including Bobby and Mel, to see how moving forward we wanted to change this up and how it'll affect like Respect Radio. So we obviously don't cross paths with each other when we cover the wrestling shows, but I don't get to watch it often, but I support the people that I see in the independents that I love. And if I can share something here, whatever it is that I can do to like help them out, I would. And it's one of those things like being that I've been watching NXT from the beginning. And not only that, the fact that we have been watching not only NXT here, but we have watched it in different platforms. And we've been working together for 4 years, only mostly covering NXT for pretty much the most part. It's a big risk and a big change to be able to talk about something so different. And it feels weird to get myself out of the routine from watching NXT, really, because I keep it in the background, but I don't pay attention as I used to. So it definitely is a big change. It's a big risk because you never know. People are going to still want to watch us, even though we're covering something different. But the numbers are really showing us that they're here for us and not just for the NXT coverage. And that makes a big difference for us later on when we pick these shows and what we want to cover. But it's also nice to see that with that, I got like messages and comments here and there, people suggesting me, not only suggesting the companies that we can cover, like she did for Action Wrestling, but we're also getting messages to be like, oh, you made a change. I love that you made a change and you're sticking to it. So to see that kind of positivity towards us as well, it's something that it felt really nice to see it. So it gives you more like an extra motivation to keep this going even more. And we hope that as we continue moving this on, that we can invite still people in that are in the shows or people that are connected to the people in the shows, so we can still have those conversations about it. So it's still a fun and exciting kind of different project in the end somehow. But other than that, but I want to say, like I said, thank you, because we're still sticking to it and we still have people watching us, which is the important part, because we just wanted to keep the conversation going and get everybody to enjoy the wrestling with us, because you guys get to watch it too. We open eyes to not only ourselves but to other people in different companies, which is always a positive thing to do here in wrestling. But yeah, for me, other than that, you can find me on the Twitter Blue Skies, Astrid Pizarro, and the Instagram and Threads is Astrid Pizarro 20. And if you're on my YouTube channel, you can hit subscribe and hit the bell to be notified when I upload or go live. On my socials, and I will keep posting about it. I have a link to my new Hot Topic storefront. So I got approved to be an affiliate with Hot Topics. So if you're looking out for the spooky season to get some gifts or Christmas season, then you can go to my storefront, just like my W Shop affiliate. It's on my link tree on any socials that you see.
You can find me at all these wonderful places down here. Marvel Talk for me is on a bit of a hiatus. I know that Andre and the Empress Peggy will be back sometime later on this month to go ahead and talk about the first 4 episodes of Peacemaker on DC Talk, so we can go ahead. Yes, Hot Topic. Ashton does have a new Hot Topic thing, so you can go ahead and definitely check that out. It's on her social media. I believe, didn't Rhea Ripley have a new shirt that went on there?
Yeah, Rhea Ripley, a Terrifier t-shirt.
Yeah. But I do want to say that Marvel Talk will be back at the end of the month, beginning of next month, as we finally have the Marvel Zombies show finally coming. We finally got a trailer, and it looks incredible. I'm so excited. So we're doing we're going to do 1 episode to cover all 4 episodes of Marvel Zombies. Also, to throw this out there, it's something we've been talking about in the back end with me, Andre, and Peggy. We're going to be doing a top 10 show where we're going to be bringing in our friends and ourselves to go ahead and rank our top 10 Marvel projects. So we're going to bring on some special guests from the past. We're going to bring on some people that have expressed interest, but we haven't been able to get on the Marvel Talk episodes yet. We're going to bring in some of our friends from our local establishment, some of our friends from nerd culture, so all kinds of things. So Marvel Talk, while it hasn't been anything recently, we're doing some things behind the scenes to get things ready. So we're going to get some videos. We're going to get some live guests to come in and join us for that show. So that show will be coming up sometime in the near future. Remember, we also have Wonder Man coming out later on this year. And of course, we will be back to doing our MC Rebound episodes at some point in the near future. You can catch me and Astrid back here every Tuesday night as we talk about all kinds of great independent wrestling, as Taking Over is now taking over the indies. Also, if you have people who watch the indies or talk about the indies that you want to see as guests on this show, go ahead and send them to me or Astrid or to our local establishment in the comments below on the video when it comes out live or when it comes out after the fact when you watch it on VOD. Go ahead and leave us a comment with people you might want to see on the show, talent you might want to see us review. We can go ahead and find specific talent. We can find specific companies. While we're doing a lot of work with Independent Wrestling TV at the top, like I said, that's a service that gives me the most bang for my buck. But remember, we're going to get back to doing things on YouTube in the near future. One of the promotions we really want to talk about is Eve Riot Girls of Pro Wrestling. I know Millie is a massive fan, and that's an understatement. The problem is that you need to be a paid subscriber for them to get the live wrestling shows. So unless we review a show that they put in full from years ago, we can't do anything current unless we pay. So we're trying to figure out how that method best works, because I already had independentwrestling.tv for my own personal enjoyment beforehand. So we'll figure something out for that. But we do want to say, make sure that you give us your suggestions about companies that you want us to review. And if they meet the criteria that we use, leave them in the comments below, and we're going to go ahead and try to find out if we can talk about those companies. But for myself, for Astrid, thank you for joining our local establishment this week. We will see you next week. Have a great night. Goodbye. Oh, no, button.